Langston Hughes was an American poet, novelist, and playwright whose African American themes allowed him to have a great impact to the Harlem Renaissance. America was changing during the time he was becoming so popular. Black consciousness was becoming more and more public and more prominent. He described himself as a new Negro because he was part of a new generation that covered new topics, took on new poetic forms, and sought a wider audience. James Mercer Langston Hughes was born in Joplin, Missouri on February 1st, 1902. He wrote a lot about being lonely when he was young. I think that was due to the fact that he moved around so much. After graduating high school, Hughes published his first and most famous poem, The Negro Speaks of Rivers. It is the first poem that celebrates Africa and dignifies the image of Africa in American literature. It was published in a popular black journal. With that being said, Hughes was being widely read from the beginning. His poetry attracted the eye to everyday people. Studying at Columbia University, Hughes discovered the Harlem art scene. He spent hours in jazz and blues clubs. The music inspired him so much that he incorporated it into his work. Jazz and blues were great influences on Langston Hughes. He was on a mission to grasp all the energy from the music into his poetry. He was very familiar with the Harlem nightlife. He knew the musicians, which he then collaborated with later on, such as Duke Ellington. Hughes was a creative writer and was one of the first African authors who can support himself through his writings. Langston Hughes wrote plays. He edited anthologies of poets with African descent across the diaspora. He wrote short stories such as Centers Across Jessie B. Simple. These are tales told by a resident of Harlem to an inspiring writer who's a stand-in for Langston Hughes. He was one of the more widely published of the young poets at that time. He was also among the better connected. He really worked hard to promote the careers of other young writers in Harlem and also throughout the rest of his life, which is also one of his big legacies. Langston Hughes died of cancer on May 22, 1967. The house he lived in was given landmark status, which is great because that's what a legendary writer needs. His influence, his ambition as a creative writer, his success, his accessibility. He wrote for the average person. He was not writing for college classes. He was not writing for the elite. This is why we should recognize Langston Hughes as a great author for the Harlem Renaissance. Langston Hughes is a great author because he spoke to, for, and about Black people in America. Langston Hughes is important because he was able to show the dignity and beauty of Black life. The writings of Hughes is relevant now because here in the 21st century we still come to battle with racism, prejudice, equality, and justice. Personally, I learned that poetry and words have a powerful way of making people feel a certain way. Langston Hughes changed the way I see Black people. They deserve much more recognition than what people give them. In 1932, Hughes traveled with a group of African American artists to the Soviet Union to write a film about the treatment of Black people in the United States. The film was never made, but like many African American intellectuals in the 1930s, Hughes found himself drawn to communism, a party whose views on racial equality were more liberal than mainstream American politics. Though he never formally joined the Communist Party, some of Hughes's poetry took on a radical tone, and he began exploring deeper, and often darker, issues in his writing. Dreams. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field, frozen with snow. Langston Hughes. If you don't passionately follow your dreams, aspirations, and beliefs, then how are you ever supposed to get your life off the ground? If you don't continue to chase your dreams, they will never take shape or manifest. This holds true for many Blacks who kept the dream of equality alive despite the constant adversity they faced. If one does not hold fast to one's dreams, then life will never reach its full potential to blossom, become a nice fruit, and transform into something beautiful.